Media is coming from a long story of the Council of Europe involvement with regard to media and diversity issues. First of all, within the intergovernmental sector, in which the Council produced several recommendations, resolution, inviting our member states to implement specific policies or actions for including diversity within media content. And after this process, we enter in a new period in which we work directly with the actors, the various actors of the European media industry, meaning broadcasters, journalists, trainers, whatever, to see how with them we can find ways for including diversity, as I said, in any kind of media content, in particular in news. So this is what we are doing. And the main topic and the main issue for the Council of Europe, and maybe you can ask yourself why the Council of Europe is doing such and developing such activities. And in fact, for us, these actions around including all groups of population that belong to our city is a way also to allow people to be part of the democratic and public debate in which the media play a big role, in fact. And for us, because we are the Council of Europe, 47 member states focusing on the European Convention on Human Rights, it's one of the fundamental rights for people to be able to express themselves and to be part of the public debate. And this is why we are doing this, because as you know, even if some efforts and initiatives have been taken in various Council of Europe member states or various members, actors of the industry, today a lot of groups of population are still excluded from the news and from the media, and that's why we are developing such actions.
And this is the second of the various media conferences that's happened. There was one in Florence already. Do you feel you're getting closer to a sense of accomplishment, to maybe having a kind of broad-based approach? People are standing up and taking notice and realizing something has to be done?
It's a good question. Well, in the area of training, in the area of journalism training, it is you're right, it is the second encounter. But we organized also 3 others on production and two others on journalism practice. So this set of thematic encounters, even if they focus specifically on a specific area, are more or less linked. And we try, for example, in this encounter, even if we are focusing on training, we did not invite only trainers, but we invite also journalists, activists, civil society activists, and so on and so on, to cross perspective. If I have a look on what happened in Florence, that was the first one on training in last October 2013, and now what's happening here, I think the most important, and even if you want to deliver tools and outputs that could be make available for trainers, whatever, but I think the most important point is the process of dialogue and discussion to make understand this very specific approach of media with regard to diversity, inclusiveness, because why I'm saying this, it's because when you look on the efforts and initiatives that have been made during the last 15 years, 20 years, in particular in UK, but it's also the case in France, Germany, whatever, these initiatives or voluntary actions, I would say, developed by the media, for example, focused on how to better cover diversity within the media as such. And it's important to do it. There is no critics from us on this, no. But we say there is a complementary approach to see how we can include minority groups or minorized groups in any kind of news. And this is another process. And people, because it's easy to, more or less, it's easy to cover diversity as such, it's more complicated to find the ways for including diversity in journalism training, in production, or even in our daily professional practices, because for us, this part on journalism practice is linked to the idea on a daily basis you are in a newsroom or you're in an educational team in a school or whatever, you cross people, and even in your own behavior, your contacts, your daily dialogue, whatever daily conversation, you must be aware for being inclusive too, not only in terms of production or training, but also on how you behave around you and your colleagues and so on and so on. So we try to push an idea that people think it is simple, but they realize in fact it's much more complex and complicated to implement it in fact. Media changed the perspective about diversity, and people never ask themselves, okay, I don't know, I'm doing a report on climate change. Okay, how can I open my experts, witnesses, whatever, to the other groups of population we never see? I want to mean to other groups of population who are not made of white male over 45 years old and belonging generally to upper middle class.